but our emotions get so hijacked that we don't even know what our emotions are. Sometimes we're so used to suppressing them, we're used to feeling shame about them. And if we're living in a culture like that, then we really can't be happy. And we're going to over logical things, whatever that word.
Rationalize.
There's a good word. And we're just going to continue to not have emotion when emotion is our biggest tool. It is such a huge asset for us. And I can't remember what got us started on that, but um, yeah,
It's okay. I
I
like
think
where it's going.
the imagination really is a wonderful place, and there's so much about our culture that beats it up. Um, and I'm here to say, not only is fear and fantasy a part of imagination, but there is a place of truth too.
Right. So basically, because we're just not being so open or relaxed with our emotions, we're keeping it all inside. We're repressing it. We're medicating ourselves not to feel it in many cases. Because I'm pretty sure I don't need to tell you like what Xanax, Wellbutrin,
Hmm.
lorazepam, all that stuff does to numb a person,
Hmm.
and even not just the medication. You're smoking, pot, drinking, all this stuff, just not to
Right,
feel.
right.
So
But
would you say like going through all of this as a society, we're blinding ourselves to the potential of like developing the skills
oh yeah,
that you have?
in fact, I think our emotional state as a culture allows for us to continue this materialistic society.
Mhm.
That's why we are where we are and why we'll continue to be there as we move out of being a materialistic society.
But is it just the emotions or is there more to it? Because again, you're saying materialistic society. Do
Mm.
you feel because now we want more nice clothes, we want to buy stuff, we want to buy video games, like we're just working, working, working to buy for the present. We're not exactly building our future, like buying a nice piece of farmland or buying a house or developing stuff. We're just so focused on the here and now, we're not even
Yeah.
exploring possibilities. We
Well,
like to
what?
have things in our hand, cash, gold, electronics. We're not even like thinking that there's a possibility of a dualistic nature out there. And dualism meaning like there's the physical world, and then there's like you can call it spiritual
Hmm.
world, you can
Hmm.
call it cosmic entity, you can call it the second plane or plane of
Hmm.
existence.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, we're not even thinking about the possibility of any of that. We're just focusing on here and now and money.
Well, we get pretty distracted, don't we? And it's interesting that um, I was thinking about this earlier today. How we have been a materialistic society that we want our own land, we want our car, we want this, all these physical things. But we as a society are moving away from that with our virtual world. And so I remember being a kid in the 90s and we had we had a computer. Like this was the house computer. Everybody shared that
The
one
big
computer.
box.
Yeah. And speaking of box, that's how you would get your antivirus software. It would come in a box with a CD. You put the CD in, you bought it, and that was good for a couple of years or something like that. And now everything's subscription. So you don't own that. You borrow the service, and then guess what? Next month you're going to have to pay another amount or in another year. And I think they're doing the same thing with cars where you can subscribe for a vehicle. Like we're moving towards a society that's not going to have things.
Hmm.
And so then how is capitalism going to deal with that? How is capitalism going to deal with that? They're going to fuck with your brain and make it so you're constantly distracted and you're just basically a shell of a human, you know?
Yeah, you're
We're,
always on your
we're getting in a
phone.
weird place here, but
I
I,
mean, it is the topic is psychics and mediums.
right.
So let's not we don't have to say weird, but we can say extraordinary.
So how does psychic medium go into a world where we're losing possessions of like those physical things that we're used to of our society? Well, it really comes down to fulfillment and satisfaction. Um, I think when we get to a place where we're just being a shell of a human being, there's a lot of there spiritually speaking, there's you are a multi-system entity. So not only are you a physical body, but you have a mental body, you have an energetic body, and this is like spiritual terms, right?
Yeah, chakra key.
So you have these multiples, you have these systems, and so if only one is really being used, then the rest of the systems fail. And then guess what? Like energetically, spiritually speaking, like that shit's gonna shut right down. You're gonna get disease. You're gonna develop, personality disorders or like, all this kind of
Anxiety.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, we're already there.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like to call it my spidey sense, but no, it's anxiety. My psych told me it's anxiety.
oh yeah, so going back to the medication thing, I was actually on an antidepressant
Mhm.
when I was going through this stuff. And when I was going through like understanding what psychic and mediumship skills were, if they were real, because I didn't go in going, this shit's real. I was like, I want this to be proven. I want to prove this to myself. And it actually took a year for me to feel like, all right, fine, legit. This is my truth. People are gonna know. Um, but I wasn't on an antidepressant from, the time that I started delving into the psychic mediumship to having a spiritual awakening. And then maybe like a couple months ago, I finally got off of it. So is it a bad thing to be on a medication? No, I think maybe that could have helped me get to that place of feeling a contentment and a purpose and a broader perspective of what this world is about. Um, but I, it took me a few medications to get there. I will say that, and that was not a fun journey. It was not a
Yeah.
fun journey.
No, I can relate. With medications, it is a short-term fix, in my opinion, but if you
Yeah,
take it too long term, it can impact negatively.
it can. And that's why I stopped because I started getting symptoms of stuff that was like what seemed to be autoimmune stuff. And I was
Mhm.
wondering if it was my medication. And guess what? It's gone. Maybe it's placebo, but
Yeah,
I'm
as
doing
long as you
okay
feel
right now.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did want to mention that one little part because people have had questions on that.
Mhm.
I'll go to Reddit and I will go into some of the subreddits with like spirituality and psychic development, and I'll answer questions or ask my own questions. And medication is one that comes up a lot. So I just want to put that out there to anybody who's thinking like, maybe I could do this, but I take a medication.
Yeah, but
Just
like,
want to put that out there.
just a clarification out there, we are not offering any medical advice. We're just offering our
No,
opinions on the matter.
exactly. We are not
Always consult
prescribing
a professional.
doctors.
100%.